Alright guys, as I usually do on my videos or my live streams, I'm gonna out myself as kind of a normie when it comes to gaming. I did not have thousands of games growing up. I didn't get, unlimited amount of time to play it. My parents were kind of hard asses when it came to video games. We had time limits, we had, monetary limits. We didn't have very many games. However, I did cherish the ones that I played, and of course there were franchises and titles I tried to catch up on later on in life. One of those was The Witcher 3. I always wanted to check out the first few Witcher games, never did, but I thought The Witcher 3 was one of the most incredible games I had ever played. Now, obviously, a lot of people have complaints about combat mechanics, movement, and such, and there are definitely, legitimate arguments for that to be made. I think The Witcher 3 definitely suffers a little bit in terms of the combat and movement mechanics in the game, but it's still a fantastic game. A lot of people love it. And of course, the storytelling aspect of the game is fantastic. So this has led to a lot of people wondering where this series is going. And of course, to most people who played the games, obviously the next choice for a protagonist was obviously going to be Cirilla. This was something we knew for a long time now. The problem is how we get there. For most people, they were not thinking she was going to be a full-out Witcher. She was going to lean more heavily into her abilities, her powers, and not just try to make her the female Geralt. Well, unfortunately, it seems that they are going this route, whether they claim that it's not going to be that way or not. It just seems like she is going to be yet another Witcher character, but this time it's a woman. So, yawn, right? With a company like CD Red, unfortunately, with how much we've seen them lean into things like Pride Month, and of course their girls in gaming initiatives and all this crap that they've been pushing for years, people are concerned about where this game franchise is going. Then, of course, a few weeks ago, we saw this tech demo that came out, and as stunning and incredible as it was, at the end of the day, it's just a tech demo. There is nothing concrete that we saw in this. It was running on a base model PS5, allegedly. So, of course, they wanted to show this because they wanted to claim that it showed how much they could actually optimize this game. Despite the fact that this was just a tech demo, there was truly nothing in this to take away from that you would expect to see in the final product. In fact, if you go back to look at the original tech demos from The Witcher 3, even I do believe, to what we saw in the final release, they're like night and day. There's a lot of differences between the tech demo and the final release product. So a lot of people are concerned, right? A lot of people are concerned, and it seems that a lot of what they're gearing this game towards is to be more of a console-first approach, which is fine to a degree. But it seems to me that this goes back to a lot of the issues we've heard in the past about how this team of people at CD Red, now that they've lost some of their talent, similar to companies like Ubisoft, it seems that they don't have the talented developers on hand that they once had as, full-time employees. So we've seen this article here that says The Witcher 4 CD Red is taking a console-first development approach, but with good reason. The claim is that they want to make sure that this runs perfectly well on Xbox and PlayStation, and then of course they can optimize it for PC later on, which I think is the backwards way of approaching it. I think you'd probably have more people playing it on PC, but hey, I'm a PC gamer, I'm biased in that regard. However, this does go back to, like I said, what we've heard about this company in the past, with how since they switched from their own proprietary engine to Unreal Engine, they seem to be having some issues. We saw this claim all the way back in February, from, of course, Daniel Vavra over at Warhorse Studios, developers of Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2, where they said that basically Witcher 4 was stuck in development hell due to Unreal Engine 5. And of course, there are some quotes from Daniel Vavra himself, saying essentially that The Witcher 4 is not running well on Unreal Engine, saying that there were significant hurdles in implementing open world functionalities, even a year or two into the development of the game. So this is leading a lot of people to wonder, is this game going to be anything close to the tech demo we've seen? Is it going to run smooth? Is it going to be a stutterfest like we've seen with so many Unreal Engine games? I mean, there are so many of these games, like Hellblade 2 when it released was, again, kind of one of these games that was marketed as a tech demo that ended up being a very boring game, and it was a stuttery mess for a lot of people. So, of course, we also have the controversy about the main character being Cirilla, with the Witcher 4 devs recently coming out saying that, of course, it's a very clear, obvious choice to have Cirilla be the protagonist. It's the right choice for the players, and that players shouldn't make opinions until the game is out. Says this is how it's going to be, and you will see in the game how it will play out. Now, again, I don't think people are critiquing the fact that they chose to have Cirilla be the main character, so much as how they're implementing that in the game. Nobody wants to play the female Geralt. Geralt, was such a fantastic character, so well developed. People loved playing him. They loved the romance options. They loved the story arc, the optional choices in the game of how you want to play the character. And to then just try to gender swap that, for a lot of people, feels lazy. It feels forced. It feels, again, ham-fisted. Nobody wants to play the female Geralt. Nobody out there of any significant numbers wants to play the female Geralt. So, of course, they're just saying, look, go back to the guy that plays the voice of Geralt, Doug Cockle. Look what he says. For me personally, reading the books, it's very clear that the story slowly transitions from being Geralt's story to really being Ciri's story, sometimes narrated through the eyes of Geralt. That's fine. That's something that we can probably all agree on, that sure, Ciri is the next logical choice. But again, it's all about how it's implemented. So now we have this 20-minute footage of a competitor of the Witcher series, Blood of the Dawnwalker, that just released. And I'll be honest, while some of the footage is pretty rough, because this is pre-beta footage, obviously, this is just a sample of the actual gameplay, I find it to be more impressive than the tech demo that we've seen from, of course, the devs over at CD Projekt Red of The Witcher 4. At the end of the day, I would rather see rough gameplay footage with the promise of something better down the road than a tech demo that is not based in reality or anything close to what we're going to have in the actual finished product. So you can see right here, it says Blood of the Dawnwalker gameplay overview reveals 20 minutes of The Witcher with parkour. I think that that's going to resonate with a lot of people as a very positive move, something in the right direction for this series, because again, people are going to have to make the decision moving forward if they want to give CD Projekt Red the benefit of the doubt after the disaster that was, of course, Cyberpunk 2077 when it launched, and of course the direction that the company is now, where a lot of people don't have the faith in this company that they once had. So of course now we have the spiritual successor being Blood of the Dawnwalker, and I'm not going to lie, the game looks genuinely interesting. We've already seen a cinematic trailer for it. Now we're getting rough gameplay footage, and the story alone seems fantastic. It says 14th century Europe, bloody conflict sweeps the land, and the Black Death comes for the survivors. Vampires seize their opportunity to walk out of the shadows and claim what they've been denied for centuries, freedom and the power that comes with it. You play as Cohen, a young man turned into a Dawnwalker, forever trading the line between the world of day and the realm of night. Fight for your humanity or embrace the cursed powers to save your family. Whatever your choice, the question stands, is your soul worth the lives of those you love? I mean, come on. What is not to love about that? And again, it needs to be stated, and it cannot be understated, that Rebel Wolves, the studio behind behind the competitor to CD Projekt Red's Witcher 4, is a bunch of former CD Projekt Red employees. Konrad Tymiskowicz, who is the game director from The Witcher 3, who is one of the co-founders of this studio, is of course working on the game, as well as the design director Daniel Sadowski from The Witcher 1, narrative director Jakub Smalek from, of course, Witcher 3 and CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077, the animation director Tamara Zawada worked on The Witcher 3. The list goes on and on. A ton of people who have experience at CD Projekt Red, but who have since left for greener pastures, it would seem, working on a game that I, honest to God, think is going to go toe-to-toe with The Witcher 4. But at the end of the day, I think people are going to be happier with a rough gameplay, compilation of a game that has a lot of promise and heart in it, compared to a tech demo that looks pretty on the surface, but is just a shallow representation of something that used to be good and unfortunately now is just going to be like a hollow, empty shell. And I think that's where we are with a lot of games these days. They look pretty on the surface. Even some of the games have good trailers. Maybe there's some promise there. But people at the end of the day are going to have to make the decision. Are you choosing CD Projekt Red's new iteration of The Witcher, or are you going to go with the people who made the original games great and who have since gone on to do their own thing? So I'm going to leave it right there, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Are you impressed by this gameplay footage of course, the Dawnwalker? Or do you think that this is just going to be something that's not as good as the Witcher franchise was? So again, leave a comment down below and I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have two channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.